But what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to go around the room, and what I'll do at first is go around and I'm going to connect with each and every one of your guides. Now, whether just bear with me if you already know some of this stuff. But we all have guidance in our life, whether you call them spirit guides, angels, ancestors, fifth dimensional beings, or whatever you want to call it. I can't tell you exactly which ones they are for each and every one of you, but we all seem to have this little spiritual posse behind us, helping us through our lives. They don't tell us what to do. They don't force us to do anything. They're not drill sergeants. They're guides. They're helping you through this life. So, sorry, she's a little. But they're there behind us. And just so you know, so for some of you, sometimes they come through to me, and I can actually visualize them and see them in a very specific form. For the majority of the time, to me, they are just sort of an energetic shape. But every once in a while, somebody's guides come through in a very strong form, very Native American, very unique looking, but not always. If I see them in a certain way, I'll let you know, and it may back up things that you already know or feel or have experienced or have been told by other intuitive people. So I'll tell you what I see and how I see it. Other than that, I just listen to them. I am what do we call this? An audient and empathic psychic to begin with, which means I generally hear my information. Rather than seeing, just like on television where they show you this dead person standing right there and they might move around the room a little bit, I generally hear the information first. And then I will also feel it as well. Go on, girl. I will feel it as well. And sometimes I will actually feel what is going on in your life as well. So I might feel anxiety, I might feel a nervousness, I might feel just an ache in the knee or in a foot, or be drawn to a certain area, and know that that's an area to bring up in your reading. Now, with that being said, just know that if something comes up that's of a physical nature, you always realize that there's two parts of our body. There's a spiritual and a physical as well. This one's going to have to go if she doesn't be quiet. Okay. So when I'm drawn to, let's say I'm drawn to a heart area, I will look first and ask them to be more clear to know, is this just like a heart chakra thing? Is there something in our heart that we need to deal with? Or is this a physical problem that a person would need to look at? Sometimes they will tell me, sometimes they won't. But don't ever panic if somebody tells you they're being drawn to a physical area or they're feeling a physical problem. Lisa, can you maybe take her downstairs some more? Because the reason why you shouldn't worry about that is because there's a time and a place for everything. And like I said, these are your guides. They're guiding you. They're not drill sergeants. So if they're guiding you and telling you, and they're telling me to tell you to take a look at your liver or take a look at something very specific, you don't have to do anything about it. Don't panic or freak out or go get $18,000 worth of medical treatment just because your guide said. They know you'll get there when you get there. But for example, if there's something that comes up and you say, that's been bothering me for a while, I've been kind of thinking about that. Now it's your time to determine whether you want to actually go look at it or if you're going to wait. But you have ultimately free will and choice to do what you want to do, so don't worry. But I have seen people go run to the doctor and there's nothing. And then I have actually seen people go to the doctor and they found stuff and they're like, thank goodness I got that little push to go check this out because there was something. So use your own intuition and use your own guidance to determine what to do with the information that's handed to you. One of my big issues with being a psychic and delivering information to people and helping people is helping them understand what this information means to them. Not what it means to me or what my ego wants to say, oh, well, if it's mother issues, that must mean you and your mother. Because I found out one day, with the help of Lisa, this woman had, they kept telling me mother issues on the, right after they had told me she needed to cut some ties. She was going through an issue of cutting ties, and then they bring up, I'm hearing mother issues. Well, because of past experience and I guess you'd say ego jumping in there, I'm assuming it's this woman and her mother. And she's like, no, my mother and I have a great relationship. And I said, well, sometimes the issue is lack of a relationship. Because in my own personal life, I kept having father issues come up with people. Psychics would tell me there's some father issues there. And I said, I don't have problems with my father. We just don't speak. He's an Eeyore and he's a miserable person. I love him, but we don't speak. There's no problem. Well, the lack of relationship was the problem. So it's the way you learn to look at things that's important. But this lady in particular, she went off to sit with Lisa because it was her friend, and I went to read the next person, and they were sharing notes, and it turned out that it made complete sense to her when Lisa helped her take a look at it in a different aspect. She said, well, you realize your son's going off to college next week and you're going to have to cut some motherly ties. You are the mother with the issues, not you. But just me, instantly, I'm putting in, oh, mother issues, so that must mean you and your mom. So I try to make every effort to help people see how they can apply this to their life if it doesn't already make complete and clear sense to you. Because I'm not always handed, I guess you'd say, complete information. Why, I do not know. Maybe the universe just likes to mess with us, but it's not always as clear to me. But it's also not my information to interpret. It's what it means to you. So there will be times where I have to ask somebody if it makes sense to them. Do they know what this means? And it's not because I am a terrible psychic. It's because it's not for them. It's not for your people to tell me to tell you what to think. It's to hand you this information and let you work through it. Because this is a big, I guess you'd say, our lives are a big learning experience, and we're supposed to do the homework. And just like in school, if somebody just hands you all the answers to the test, you're not really going to learn a lot, are you? There's a time for tutoring, and there's a time for, well, here's your homework, go do it. And so that's sort of why guides come through sometimes with information that's very clear and concise, and this is something very important that you need to handle. And sometimes they'll hand it to you and say, well, here it is. Let's see what you do with it. And then they know that you'll get there when you get there. So if you ever have readings from people and they tell you, you need to go do this, you need to take care of this right away, back up a little bit, because that's their ego going into it. They have to know that you get there when you get there. So with that being said, I think we'll try starting to connect with each and every one of your guides. I'm just going to go straight around the room, and I've asked them basically to let me know what each person needs to hear for tonight. And you're perfectly welcome to tell me that doesn't make sense. I don't understand that. Then I don't know what you're talking about. That's okay, because it will at some point in your life. It may be tomorrow and it may be the next day. You may need to have an experience before you go back and go, oh my gosh, that so jives with what that lady says. Okay, now I'll take a look at it. But don't worry about that. Don't make things fit if they don't seem to fit, because they will fit somewhere. I'm never given wrong information. It's just we don't always know where to put it. And I've had that happen to me too, where it took quite a while for me to get stuff. I had one issue for about 20 years. Every psychic I ever know said, this is what you need to do, you need to work on this. And I said, well, I'll figure it out later. And eventually it clicked one day, and I'm like, that's what they're talking about. But it took 20 years. And so I wish I could go back to each and every one of those people and say, thank you for beating me over the head with this. I got it eventually, but they don't know, and I might never know either what happens to my clients, but I trust that information is correct and accurate. In case you want to know or care, I've been doing this professionally for about 6 or 7 years. But I have known since I was about 10 that there was something going on, because I would hear information, and I would, I would hear, look down, and I'm walking along, I look down, there's a $20 bill right in front of me. I'm like, I know I heard that, but I don't really know where. I mean, I guess I just knew it was psychic, but you didn't know how to access or what the true source was. And then it got stronger and stronger as I got older. Finally, I'd had enough. I'm like, was once in the military, and I stood there and I heard information about a person in front of me. It said, you're going to do well in Germany. That afternoon in formation, the gentleman got orders for Germany out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, I am so done with this. Y'all need to tell me how to work this and why I get this random information. So I reached out and I met people, and then just through a course of events learned how to, of course, I guess you'd say, sort of access it. It is nothing, I would say, mystical, or it's truly, I believe, it is a sixth sense that everybody has. It's just atrophied over time and centuries, and we use this and we use this and we use everything else, but we don't always use that, I guess you'd say, intuition and those other senses, and all you have to do is start tuning into them. Can you get the door? It just opened up. The more you tune into them, the more you understand it. But in order to really, I guess you'd say, validate the information that you're hearing and be able to use it in your own personal life, you need to have opportunity to have that information validated back to you as well. So the more you experience, the more you have experiences, or the more you use this intuition, the easier it gets to, I guess you say, accept. And and that's, again, that's kind of what we're talking about with working with guides and that higher guidance. And you can put any name on it you want. I have my own personal names that I have, which are pretty standard and classic, but that's not how everybody rolls, so I'll just leave it at that. And then as far as we want to talk about with medium work, that's completely different. The medium work is where we go ahead and we connect to loved ones who have crossed over. Okay, that's almost like two different sides of the house for me. It is using the same abilities, I guess you'd say, but it's just a little bit of a different avenue. So that's like, have you ever heard the term, what is it? All mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums? You heard of that one? Okay, that's like saying all MDs are doctors, but not all doctors are cardiologists. There's different, I guess you say, different specialties within the field of psychic. There's different specialties within the field of medicine. So understanding that, then you'll know who to go to for what you're looking for. If you're looking for life guidance, you go to a certain type of person. If you're looking for medium work, you go to another type. Or if you're lucky, you get somebody who does both. So So let me pull up my little rolly chair, and I'm going to go around and we're going to start with everybody. Please do not be nervous. Do not think that I'm going to know something I'm not supposed to know, or like Lori, oh God, what's she going to say? Yeah.
Can I have one?
Yeah.